Shabbat Shalom, everyone. On this Parshat Shoftim, perhaps the most recognizable pasuk line from this parsha is the following: Tzedek, tzedek, tirdof. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdof. Leman tichyeh. V'yirashta et haaretz. Asher Adonai Elohecha noten lach. Tzedek, tzedek. Justice, justice. Tzedek, the same root for the word tzedakah, of charity. More than hinting at that when we give charity, when we extend our hand to one another, we are bringing more justice into the world. And as always, when a word is repeated, it means that there's greater emphasis, greater oomph to this, that we should pay greater attention, that we should not just stand and wait for an opportunity to create justice in the world, but to pursue it. Justice, justice, tirdof, to be a rodef shalom, to be a pursuer of peace. Why? Leman tichyeh v'yirashta et haaretz, that you may thrive and occupy the land that your God Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh is giving you. So remember where we are in context. This is Moshe's final operatic statement to the people before they enter the land. And he's giving them again and repeating many things to them to remember. Because, we forget. We forget who we are. And we forget what our responsibilities are. Also in this parsha, this is going to be very recognizable as well. Va'arta hara mikirbecha, nefesh b'nefesh, ayin ba'ayin, shein b'shein, yad b'yad, regel b'regel. Thus you shall sweep out evil from your midst, life for life, eye for eye, ayin ba'ayin, shein v'shein, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. Of course, this has been misinterpreted through the ages, that God really wanted us to do this literally. No, it's measure for measure. Shakespeare understands it, and so do we. And it may not necessarily be the Shabbat of the trees, but certainly is the Shabbat where it is mentioned that we are like the trees of the field. And here is one of Alessandra's glorious paintings. If you have not seen her work, you have so much beauty awaiting you and to discover. And this is going to lead me further. For where this parsha mentions the trees is not until you get almost 2/3 of the way down into the parsha, where it is talking about the rules of war. Ki tatzor el ha'ir yamim rabim lehilachem aleha letafsha. When in a war, milchama, you know that word. When in a war against a city, you have to besiege it a long time in order to capture it. Lo tashchit et ha'etza lindoch alav garzen. You must not destroy its trees, wielding the axe against them. Ki mimenu tochel v'yoto lo tichrot. You may eat of them, but might not cut them down. Why? Ki adam eitz hasadeh. For man, woman, is like a tree of the field. So taking a closer look at this, it seems obvious at first why we get this mitzvah. It wouldn't make sense to cut down the fruit trees. We need to eat from the fruit trees, but it would make sense to cut down those trees, perhaps, that could be used for fortification, to protect us from those who would want to hurt us. So this pasuk, it differentiates between types of trees and how one must behave with them, how one must interact, or should anyway, in times of war. If you are thinking to yourself, yes, then why are so many olive trees being destroyed in the land? That is a conversation for another time. But according to this pasuk, it is against Torah law. The Rambam summarizes it as such. Maimonides teaches that not only does this apply to trees, but also whoever breaks vessels or tears garments, destroys a building, blocks a wellspring of water, or destructively wastes food, transgresses the command of Bal Tashkit, do not destroy. And this is the halachic basis of ecological responsibility. This pasuk in today's parsha of not destroying the fruit trees is the halachic basis of us being ecologically responsible. Now, where do we take this back to? We take it back to the trees. I had to insert a couple of Alessandra's most beautiful paintings here. Let's go back to a beautiful midrash from Bereshit, our very first parsha. At the time, the Holy One, blessed be, created Adam. God took Adam and showed Adam all the trees of Gan Eden. That's how my Aunt Fanny used to pronounce it, Gan Eden, of the Garden of Eden, and told him, behold my handiwork, how beautiful and splendid they are, and all that I have created for your sake. And here's the kicker. Take care not to spoil it and destroy my world, for if you ruin it, there will be no one to fix it up after you. If this midrash makes you catch your breath amidst the times of ecological destruction that we are living, it should. Vaclav Havel, in his book, The Art of the Impossible, I believe we have little chance of averting an environmental catastrophe unless we recognize that we're not the masters of being, but only a part of being. We know that. We know that when we say Shema. We know that when we breathe into presence and recognize that we are a small part of something much greater, a dream that is a dream for all eternity. And Rabbi Jonathan Sacks adds, this is why a religious vision is so important, reminding us we are not owners of our resources. And I want for a second to remind us of a few words in the Amidah that Scott will chant for us and with us in a short while, referring to divinity as Konei Hakol. A Konei is an owner. A Konei in modern Hebrew is a landlord. And so with that, God, divinity, is the owner of all. And we rent for a short time our place in this part and our parts of the garden. This place, they belong not to us, the resources, but to the eternal and eternity. Hence, we may not needlessly destroy. If that applies even a war, how much more so in times of peace? The earth is the Lord's and all that is in it, from Psalm 24. We are guardians on behalf of its creator for the sake of future generations. LeDavid mizmor l'Adonai ha'aretz ha'malo'ah tevel v'yoshvei. That's the Hebrew. LeDonai David mizmor l'Adonai ha'aretz ha'malo'ah tevel yoshvei. The earth is Yud Heh Vav Heh and all that it beholds, the world and its inhabitants. And so if this doesn't belong to us, we must be stewards of all that has been given us and improve on it. And improve on it. And our beloved Alessandra, thank you for bringing so much beauty into this world, reflecting, pun intended, on the world that has been created for us and our interaction as artists with it. Ki Adam eitz hasadeh, man, woman, is like a tree of the field. Reb Nachman teaches us to search for the wisdom in every creation. And so, We look for that in the tree. A tree takes nothing more from the earth than its barest necessities. Do we do that? A diseased tree must be severely pruned back to encourage new and stronger growth. Does that remind you of spiritual tools and using it, especially in this month, to cut away that which is extraneous? Each species of trees yields its own characteristic fruit. We each of us are unique with our own mission in this lifetime. In the words of the Blues Brothers, a mission from God. Trees never give up. When they're cut back, they simply grow back. And finally, trees constantly grow upward in the direction of light. As our beloved Reb Zalman of blessed memory reminds us, we are theotropic beings reaching all the time towards the light. And so, my sweet friends, in the light of the beautiful artwork given to us by our sister Alessandra, we are reminded that a tree's roots are below and it draws its sustenance from the physical earth. And as reminded by our brother Mark, whereas man, woman, we are upside down trees with roots are in heaven. On the Shabbos day, may we be blessed with the awareness that while we are firmly planted on the ground, our roots are in heaven. And this Elul, may we, like the tree, reach out to actualize towards who we already are. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.